Hey guys, we were just testing out lighting, making sure everything was perfect before we start this lesson. Thank you so much for tuning in on this very, very special bonus class that we have for you, which is actually something you guys voted for. Most of you saw that I posted a few pictures of some Halloween looks, and we wanted to see what you want me to do on my beautiful model, Miss Emily Sears. She is on Instagram at Emily Sears, Sears. And we've been wondering, what do you guys want to learn? And the winning look is this beautiful lace mask, which I'm so honored to do that actually, because I actually did that about 10 years ago. It was just an impromptu shoot out of nowhere. And I didn't plan for it, but I did it, and I ended up using a little piece of lace that the photographer had. And I used it to just trace out the edges, and then the rest I did freehand. So I'm going to show you how to recreate this look, and we are going to have it up. Once we upload it, it'll be up for 72 hours, so you can have time to prepare, get your stuff, and then once it's up online, you can watch it again and make sure you're doing everything correctly, just in time for Halloween parties this weekend and next weekend. So I'm super excited for this one. I hope you are too. Yay! So I'm going to get this a little bit closer actually, and make sure that you guys can see it. If you have any issues with the lighting or the position of the camera, please let us know. I have someone on my Instagram page monitoring questions. I can also see it. So on my latest post, which is a behind the scenes post that I just posted a few minutes back, go ahead and ask whatever questions you may have. For this bonus class, I'm going to be answering questions as we go. So if you have questions about what I'm doing at the moment, feel free to shout out your question on my Instagram page on this last photo that I've posted. And I'll periodically look at it and make sure that everything is okay. And also, if you have any questions for Emily or myself, we can definitely go ahead and answer for you. Now, everything is HD now. In case you didn't get the email, everything's going to be in HD. However, the streaming has to be slightly lower in order for it to not keep rebuffering. So we are making it as high quality as possible, but also low enough so that it doesn't keep stopping on your stream, because we want to make sure you guys have an amazing experience watching live. But when we re-upload the video later, it's going to be super HD, super clear. So in case you guys need to see anything just a little bit more clearly, you'll be able to see that later once we upload it, and we'll let you know when it's up. All right, let's get started. So the lace mask that I'm designing to show you is going to be mainly hand-drawn using eyeliners and eyeshadows. And I'm also going to, I wanted to show you a couple things I picked up at Michael's. In case you need help drawing the lace, they have these little stickers that is actually for decoration of like jars and stuff. And I picked these up at Michael's, and it's just lace stickers. I mean, by all means, you could totally use this as a mask, but I like to use it more as a guideline so that I can color around it and then rip the stickers off, and it creates a cool pattern. So it's kind of a fun way to get some nice effects on the face for the mask. So that's an option. I've already prepped my model. She already has on her foundation, her powder, a little bit of bronzer around the edges, but I didn't do any major contouring. And she has her eyebrows on and some mascara, but that's about it. This is just the base. So again, all the base stuff is on. Her eyeshadow base, her mascara, her brows, and her foundation and powder are on. We're going to jump right into the face mask, and then I'm going to show you the gradient outside of the face mask for that beautiful, shadowy, very mysterious look. And I'm going to finish the eyes on camera and the lips. So you'll basically be seeing the whole thing. So first things first, I want to make sure that the mask outline has been made. I'm just going to clip away the bangs. Okay, and now we're just going to go ahead and get started. So some of the things that we can do for the mask, we can use like this, for example, this edging. I love the round edging. So I think I'm going to use this just to give me an idea of how I want the edges of the mask to look, but I'm going to move it around on her in different sections so that I can arrange the pattern which I want to make. So you can totally do like the typical mask pattern, which kind of goes around the eyebrows. But I think I want to do something more like the picture where it had a little bit of like a peak here, and then it just had like random circles kind of going around in different directions. But as long as it's symmetrical from side to side, you'll be all right. So what I'm going to use is actually, I'm going to be using an eyeshadow. And the palette that I'm using, because this is the blackest black that is in the market right now, from the palette that I coordinated with Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's our collaborative palette, the Tamana palette. And this black is actually the blackest black that I've ever used. I've worked so hard with them creating this, so this is what I'm going to use, but if you have any other black, it should be fine too. We are going to darken it even more with eyeliner later. So go ahead and whip out a black shadow, and I'm going to use a very small smudging brush to pack it on in between the eyelet holes of this piece of lace. So this brush is MAC number 231, but you can use any tiny brush to do the same thing. So I'm going into my black eyeshadow, and this may get a little messy. Oh, you know what? Let me try something really cool for you guys. Before you do this, I just got this amazing thing. It's an illuminizer from Galactic. It's a pearl base. It looks like this. It's really reflective. I want to put this as a band all throughout her eye area so that when we do the lace mask, and when you take pictures of it, it'll actually glow. It's going to be really cool. So we're going to do this first, actually. And I'm just going to use like a regular, maybe foundation brush. I have this brush that I can use so I can get in corners as well. This is a Sephora professional brush called Tapered Foundation Brush. So I'm just digging in and grabbing a bunch of this pearlized product, and I'm actually just going to pack it on over her entire exposed area where I'm going to be doing the lace mask. So just keep in mind the area that you want to do the lace mask, and we're going to apply this product. Once I apply it, I'm going to have her go closer to the camera so you can actually see what it does. So I'm just kind of packing it on. I want it as thick as possible, and I want it to be really reflective. I'm going to go maybe halfway down her nose, and I'm going to go all under her eyes, and around the edges here. How's that, guys? If you're able to see, well, it's a little hard to see because this is basically a very close color to her natural skin, but it's just a little bit pearlescent. So you'll definitely be able to see a little bit more once the whole thing is on. But please keep giving me your feedback on my Instagram page so that my team can make sure that you guys can have the best experience watching this amazing new look. Go ahead and look up to the ceiling. Now, because I'm going to be doing eyeshadow on the top of her eyes, I'm not going to really put this pearlized base there. I'm focusing it on the outer portions. Poor girl, she's going to have so many layers on her face after this. It's fun. Just make sure that it's even on both sides. I think I'm going to just do one more layer, and then we're going to move on to the actual outlining. So again, to those who missed it, this product is from Galactic, and it is called Pearl Base. And it's just this really cool creamy product. It is not a powder product, it is a cream. which for us is going to be a good idea because then our pattern that we're going to draw over with eyeshadow is going to stick to it really well. Okay, so I'm done with the base. If you guys can see it, I'm going to have her turn from side to side so you can kind of see the shine of this. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see it. So now you can see the shine. I kind of covered her whole like eye area. And now we're going to get started with the actual outlining. So again, I'm going back with my small 231 brush from MAC. And I'm going into the Noir color from the Tamana palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I'm going to start with the center of her face, and then I'm going to work on both sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to etch out the center area, and then I'm going to start moving this way and this way, kind of simultaneously, so I can make sure that it's proportioned on both sides. The cool thing about having a sticker lace rather than a loose lace, which is what I originally did when I did this look 10 years ago, I just used regular lace. I had to be very careful about stamping around it because you know, you could totally mess up. But this sticker idea is so much better because it won't lift while you're applying, so good stuff. So I'm just making sure that I'm pushing into the holes of this lace product, this item that we're using. Definitely go and cover the edges of the lace too. So if you want to go a little closer so they can see a little bit lower. So I went a little bit over the edge of the lace so that that ombre effect above the lace can start building. So I'm just going to build as dark as I can possibly build. Now I'm going to remove it, and that gives me a really cool effect with the lace right in there. And now I'm going to move it a little bit this way. The reason why I'm not just doing this whole strip is because the strip is linear. I want it to be a little rounded, so I'm going to move it around to give it the effect that I really want. And I'm going to go ahead and freehand and make this a little bit lower so it can match the other side a little bit better. So whatever you're doing, if you just notice that it's kind of looking odd already, go ahead and start fixing it as you're going along. So now I'm going to move this over. And I might want to go just a little bit higher so I can start building that arch. I'm just packing on as much product as I can possibly get in between these holes in this lace. Now I'm going to have her turn, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm just trying to keep it as even as possible. Grabbing more, just make sure that every few packs that you do, every few stamps that you do with your brush, that you're dipping back into the product to get more product, because it won't make any sense to just keep stamping when the brush has already run out of product. You need to make sure that you keep grabbing enough product as you're going around. So you see what's kind of happening right now is it's developing this really cool pattern that's just going to keep moving throughout her face. So I'm going to go ahead and do a few lines of this going to her hairline to finish off this side, and I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Making sure I'm packing in, that everything is looking very even. Make sure you're going over the edges. And also also make sure that it is as black as possible. We want it dark, dark. And now this last piece that's touching her hairline, I'm going to let it kind of disappear into her hairline. So basically, I'm just doing it until there's no more skin left. This idea is so cool, especially for people like me who just are last minute Halloween girls, where I don't tend to plan ahead with what I'm going to be for Halloween, and I usually have no time to go out and buy a costume, and by the time I am at the Halloween store, all the fun costumes are sold out. So it's like, okay, what's a girl to do? So as a makeup artist, I mean, I do have the luxury of just doing my makeup really cool, and that's why I think this is so fun, because you can literally create an outfit with your makeup. No one's gonna have, exactly. Emily just said no one's gonna have the same thing. It's unique for you only. How cool is that? See, I'm gonna go on the other side and finish her other side here. Okay. So I'm gonna continue. Let me just make sure that I'm all balanced here. I'm gonna go a little like this. Okay. So I'm sticking this right in here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pack like there's no tomorrow. And again, guys, this is just the edging of the product, of the finished product. Basically, when you see it, most of it is going to be hand drawn in, but I want you guys to see how easy it is to make the edges. And then once the edges are on, the rest of it just kind of goes pretty quickly. Okay, so now we have that edge. I'm going to do the bottom edge as well. So the outer portion, I'm just going to do maybe these three, and then I'm going to start curving it up. So I'm just pushing this right into her hairline. I know, right? It's really interesting. And you know, if you guys can find better lace product, then I'm sure you guys can get an easier effect here. But I just found this actually at Michael's recently, and so I know they have it. And it was only 99 cents for a pack of this. So imagine, you know, maybe if you're on a budget and you just don't want to get a crazy expensive costume, I mean, all you need is this for 99 cents and your makeup, and you could just make your costume. And just wear all black or a nice lace black top to go with it. I'm just packing really heavily. When you're packing, make sure that the lace is not moving. If the lace is moving, you're going to lose your dots. Now I'm going to do the other side again. So see how I'm just kind of moving back and forth, back and forth? I just want to make sure that I keep myself in check. Let me just see over here if it's going to be at the same level. That looks pretty good. And again, going back into the black and just digging the product right in. It's a little tedious, this work, but it has such a beautiful payoff in the end when everyone just is wowed by the fact that this isn't an actual mask that you purchased, it's a mask that you created. I'm just packing it right in. I'm gonna have her come closer after I'm done with this particular piece so you can see the progress. So right around here, I'm gonna stop because I want to start curving it up. Okay, so now that I have the edges done over there, I'm gonna start curving it up towards the center of her nose. I love it, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and get a little closer. So see, and then go ahead and lower your face a little bit. Yeah, there you go. So you can see the edges starting to come together. What we're gonna do for the rest of it after we finish the edges around her nose is we're gonna fill in the middle with any pattern you want. And there's a ton of other, samples of laces that I bought and that we can use as stencils for the rest of our patterns. And then with a pencil or a liquid liner, a felt tip liquid liner pen, we can draw in and really fine tune this work. Okay, let's finish up with these. Oh my god, yes, the pearl makes it really stand out. Okay, so now we have that one other piece. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I like to do this back and forth thing because it makes me know that everything is even. Again, just make sure that the tape isn't moving around while you're grabbing your product. Make sure you're not pushing so hard that you're moving the tape. Okay, you can always physically connect. So now that that part is done, I'm just going to connect right over her nose. Push it right along here. See, it's not too difficult. Honestly, any piece of lace would work as long as you're holding it down physically if it's not a tape lace like this, the sticker lace. Like I said, when I did it 10 years ago, it was kind of like not really planned or anything, and we didn't really have a lot of items or props to help us. So we just had to think of the best way, and I just told my photographer, okay, grab a piece of lace. A lot of things from the household has lace on it, t-shirts, fancy tops with lace on it, even tablecloth type pieces, runners. A lot of those are made with lace. So I asked my photographer, please bring some lace, and that's how I'm going to create the edging of the mask. And how easy is that? Now for the final centerpiece. Okay, so the edging is completely done. It looks super fun and super cool. I'm going to have you go ahead and get a little closer to the camera so you can show everyone the edges. Once the edges are done, the rest, like I said, goes so fast and so fun. But then we're going to do more with the edge in a few minutes, so stay tuned for that. Now, if you want to have some fun, they also have, some other stickers with other patterns in it. I'm going to use some of these to help me fill in the rest of her mask, just so I can change it up and the whole thing just doesn't look the same. So I'll just stick this on and start packing on just to fill in the majority of the face, and then in between areas, I'm going to go ahead and hand draw. You can go slightly over the edges with this, but not too much because we don't want it to look like the end of the lace. So focus more on the actual center holes for the rest of the face. What I mean is the center holes of the pieces of lace that we're using rather than the edges. So that kind of helped fill in some of those areas. We're going to do the same on the other side. Can I have you hold this? Absolutely. Thank you. It took a while to create it. So again, I'm just kind of going mainly in the holes, and I am doing a little bit over the edges, but not too much. Only because this is the edge of her eye, so it's okay to go a little bit over the edges of the piece of lace, but I want to, again, focus mainly on the holes of the lace so I can just get that cool pattern in. So there we go. We have that pattern down, we have the other pattern down. Now if we want to just continue with the same patterns, I can just finish off the center portion. And I can hand draw the rest of it. We also have this other little piece from the same sticker collection. So I can focus on the little holes here and just kind of have fun with it. This is where it doesn't really matter if it's exact or not, because it's just little dots that we're creating just to help us gain a little bit of texturized appearance to the mask. So I'm just kind of randomly stamping on, creating some dots here. Just moving this lace along. Easy, 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 right? All right, so now that the main dots are on, I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I do to really sharpen up the lace patterns everywhere. So what I use is actually a very thin liquid liner. This is from LA Girl Cosmetics. It's their Fine Line liquid felt tip pen. And I'm going to use this to start creating some cool effects. So I might want to just use it to start creating some star effects. Go ahead and get really close to the camera. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of creating little diamond shapes. And almost like I'm connecting the dots. Like lace, you know, with lace, there's always a line connecting the dots to the edges. Otherwise, they just all fall off. So what I'm doing right now is I'm creating those lines, and it can be a little messy. You don't have to, worry about it being so perfect. But I'm creating those lines to look like it's connecting the dots. So just random etching throughout. And because this is a very fine tipped liquid liner, it's very easy to do this without totally screwing up the whole design with like big blobs of stuff. So see how it looks like such a nice creation here. I'm not sure where this goes. Okay. I'm just going to continue with the edging. I want to check and make sure that you guys can see this very clearly. Hang on just one moment. I want to see it based on what you guys see. I want to make sure you can see this just as perfectly as I am. One moment. I need a password on this, and then I want to make sure that everyone can see it perfectly. And then this, I don't know what happened here. Awesome. Do you guys see that? How's it looking on that end? Yeah? Okay, good. I just really want to make sure you guys are getting the full effects, because this is like the funnest thing I can possibly do is Halloween makeup. You can just go crazy with how creative your mind is. Just let it flow, and you can get the best looks on Halloween and actually get away with it and not be called like crazy. So again, just creating thin lines and making sure it's looking more intricate. So over here you can see this is just from the lace trimming that we used. And then the little eyelets in between the lace, I just kind of used it to fill up and just make some balls of dark. And then over here, I'm connecting those balls of dark with this lovely marker. And it just makes this beautiful effect of lace, of intricate lace. So you guys can decide, how you want it connected. Do you want actual patterns of connection in between, or do you want it just random lines? But what I'm doing here is just lines on the sides, but down the nose, I do want to create an actual pattern, so I'll show you that afterward. So I'm going to finish up this little area here, and then I'm going to move on to the other side of the face. I hope you guys are enjoying this so far and learning a thing or two about some fun mask makeup. See, now you don't need to buy any costumes. Just connecting the dots. Another tip I have for you when using a felt tip marker is do not press hard on the marker. Let the very, very tip just glide on effortlessly so that you're not creating big fat lines and blobs. So make sure that you're just gliding it very softly so that it's not creating any type of blobs on the eyes or face. So it's just random lines going everywhere. Everything's starting to look like lace. And we're gonna do a few more while we're close up so you can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm just really lightly just creating lines. And you just don't want to press hard with your liner. You can make X's or straight lines. I tend to make a lot of X's. Okay. I think we're good for now. I've basically completed most of the eye area. I do a little bit up into the eyebrow as well. Random hatching. Okay, so now I want to show you what I'm going to do with the center of the face. I'm just going to let you decide, of course, if you're going to do this at home, how creative you want to go with the center. I typically like the shape of diamonds, so I'm going to make some diamonds. I'm going to make sure it's all proportioned. kind of fill in some areas in between the diamonds as well, so that you can kind of see that diamondy effect a little bit. And of course, we're gonna make sure that it's even on both sides. And we're gonna make sure that these dots are connected in as well. You can make other dots around the diamonds. And now I'm just hashing out. Okay. So you can make whatever patterns you'd like to make until you see that it looks right. If I want to darken anything up, make it just look a little bit more exotic, feel free to do that. Okay. Now, make sure that you're also getting very close to the under eye area. I'm going to have her now look up to the ceiling so I can create some hashed lines here as well. So first I'm going to make some circles or diamonds, whatever you like to make. And then I'm going to connect the lines. So that it just looks all filled up. We are going to make a very heavy smoky eye on her, so most of it is going to look a little bit more blended. Okay, so now that our pen work is done, and oh, I think I want to do a little bit. Where do I see? Right around here, I want to darken it up. Okay, now it's a little bit more even. So just kind of take a step back and see your work. Make sure it's balanced on both sides before you move on to the next steps. So now that we're done with the edging, we're done with the lacing, we're going to now ombre the edges of the mask, just the very edges of it. If you can see from the picture that I posted, basically it looked like the mask created a shadow around her face. So what we're going to do is we're going to blast out some of this dark color around the edges into like a very rich red or burgundy. I used a blush actually to do that, as well as eyeshadows. So I'm going to whip out again my, my palette, which is right here. And I'm going to use the black to fill up a little bit more of the edges. And then I'm also going to use a very deep berry blush to create some dimension. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to fill up and darken with the same smudging brush, being very careful not to mess up the beautiful pattern that we've made. Why don't you get a little closer? I want them to know how I'm doing this. Right there. What I'm doing is I'm using the brush flatly, and I'm just dragging down. That way, it automatically gives a faded effect as I'm dragging down. So when you dip into fresh product, press it in where the line is, and then drag down. And do that a few times, and then grab more product and do the same thing, and it automatically starts to fade for you. So that's what's going to make your job and your life a little bit easier. Start on the darkest area, and then just drag down, and I'm using the brush again very flatly. Okay, you can go ahead and sit back and relax, and we're going to finish that whole thing along all the edges of this lace mask. It totally makes it pop. And you can still see that beautiful pearl shine in between the black lace, which is very reflective. So if we took a picture of her right now with flash photography, her mask would glow. It's going to be so amazing. I know, you really have to go somewhere special. I'm sure you can find something. Yep, Halloween week. I mean, this is the time to get away with such things.
That's the thing that makes it good that you can save on a costume, because sometimes during the week there's more than one party. You end up spending a fortune on
Exactly.
costumes.
And a lot of people don't want to wear the same costume over and over.
Yeah, sometimes you go out and the same girls get the same costume.
Yeah. No, yeah. Yep, these are the Instagram days. You don't want to be caught in the same Halloween costume more than twice.
It's expensive.
See how this look is all coming together?
It actually really is.
At first it just looks like a weird mess, but then once you do this edge, it just ends up looking so exotic and gorgeous.
That's making it really pop.
Okay, so the bottom edge is done. I'm going to do the top edge, which should go pretty quickly since it's a smaller edge. Maybe on that side. I'm going to quickly check my Instagram comments to make sure that you guys are doing okay. Oh yeah, the hair thing. Can you take a picture when this tutorial is done and post it on Instagram? Absolutely. For sure. Alright, looking good so far then. How can you make sure the mask is sealed and won't budge? Okay, so for the question regarding the lace part, if you don't have a sticker lace, how do you make sure it doesn't budge? You can totally actually use like a glue stick on the back of your lace to stick it on that person's skin and then just slowly peel it off. The glue sticks take forever to dry and it's very thick, so it's not gonna run. So that's one option, or just hold the lace mask or the lace that you buy, hold it very flat up against your skin, have her also help you hold it down while you grab more product and keep smashing it down. That's what I did when I first created the mask. So the picture that you see on my Instagram is done with a loose lace, something that had no stickiness on the back of it. Nowadays we have so many options, with the arts and crafts stores and everything. Now it's so much easier. I sound like an old lady talking, but 10 years later, we have all this cool stuff. So only 99 cents, you can buy the sticker lace at Michael's or pretty much any art supply store, I'm sure. I'll tell you the brand of it right now. It's Recollections. Ooh. Can you guys? Wow, I'm failing at this thing here. There it is. It's Recollections, and it's removable stickers, and basically you just find out what styles you like, and they have it all together. You can look at all the lace ones. It's really cool. Really, really cool. Hope the lighting and everything is going well for you guys. Oh, you want to see my makeup? I'll show you in a minute. Well, not in a minute. I'll show you when I'm done with her. Okay. I'm so glad you guys are loving this video. Thank you for the positive comments. I live for those. I just want to make you guys happy. I want to make sure you guys are learning. I love knowing that I'm giving you guys those aha moments, those light bulb moments where everything just changes forever.
So much better wearing this than an actual mask.
Right?
Because they get so uncomfortable and annoying that by the end of the party you're like, okay, I'm not gonna get rid of it. This is
so funny. Yeah, that's true.
Strike you in the eye or anything. Doesn't fall off.
You're free to breathe. You're free to dance the night away because we are packing it on so heavily, it's not going to sweat off. You're golden for hours and hours and hours. Yeah, pack very heavily, guys. I want to make sure that black is blacker than black, which this particular black is already blacker than black, but I'm still packing it on because I just don't want it to sweat off, and I want to make sure it's sticking to that skin beautifully. And now I'm going to do this little fadey motion here, fading it a little higher. Okay, so now we're done with the edging. Gosh, you're looking so cool. I love it. Awesome. So now we're going to do a little bit more fading with a burgundy blush. Let me whip out my blushes and show you exactly which one I want to use. This is from MAC. It is a nice dark berry blush called Love Rush. Love Rush, one word though. And I'm going to use this brush here. You could basically use the same one that we were using earlier, which was the 231. But this one is slightly bigger. I believe it's a 214. And I'm going to use this quite heavily, dragging it on, and sticking it right underneath the black for that ombre effect. Very heavily. I'm just overlapping slightly with the black, but I don't want to cover all the black with this. So what I'm doing is I'm going very heavy on the edges of the black, and then now that almost nothing is on my brush, I can just blend it a little higher in the black. So I'm not actually covering up the whole black, but I am just touching over and overlapping so that it can look a little more like a fade rather than stripes. I just want to make sure this also looks like a fade. And we're going to go into the center. Make sure every few stamps you're grabbing more product.
That's so cool.
It does. It's a fun thing to do. Just drag it down flatly. I'm not using the brush straight in like this, I'm using it flat. Just keep that in mind. That's going to give you a much cleaner fade when you're using it flatly. You can always go back and add more black as needed, or add more burgundy as needed. I just want to get this on so I can get a visual of where I want to go next. Okay, we'll start doing the top. I love ombreing everything. When I do eyes, I always do some sort of ombre effect on the bottom and the top, so everything just has this really cool fade to it. Okay, so now that part is done. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use a blending brush. I'm going to start blending basically the same color, but because it's a more fluffy brush, it's going to go on much more dispersed. So I'm going to use a blending shadow brush to just kind of fade it down into her skin color so it's a true fade. You really just can't see where it ends. Yep. Just a really fun fade. And if we want, we can really make this part more heavy and then fade it down and really try to overlap it with that black. so it has a much cleaner gradient. Knowing me, I'm just going to add more black to it as well. I just love black. Thank you. Just fading it downward. Make sure it's full coverage here, and then the fade starts to get more translucent. If your fade is looking just as strong as the beginning of the burgundy, that means you're using too much product on that area and you just need to brush it off. You can totally also blend using your fingertips. So like, if I need to further blend, I can always use my fingertips or her own color powder to blend it better. Okay, I'm gonna check you from the front. Go ahead and face me. Good. Okay, so that part is pretty much done. I do want to add a little bit more of the black. So I'm going to go in with a, and in case you guys don't know which brush this is from Holloween. It is their blending brush, which is B and then J142. I don't think this is going to focus, but it's BJ142, and it looks like this. Max 222 brush is very similar. And now I'm going to whip out another Holloween brush, which is just a very skinny version of that. This one doesn't have a number, unfortunately. It just says Holloween on it, but no number. And it just looks like this. It's a very tiny version of a blending brush. And I'm going to use that with black and just start rolling this down to make that fade even more dark and more mysterious looking. I'm also kind of using this brush flatly and just kind of fading it down into the burgundy a little bit more. And it's okay to go back and forth with that other brush and just kind of soften out that burgundy edge while you're doing the black edge. I usually have like a lot of brushes in my hand at once. I just like to, I'm really picky about balance, so I just like to make sure my balance is right. So if that means going back and forth until you think it's perfect, go for it. Okay. Just a little bit more here. Yeah, I'm liking that more. I like a nice deep ombre. High contrast. Just roll it down. It's totally okay to use your hands. All right, so now that the mask is pretty much done, I get to do her eyes and make this a little bit more completed. So, back to the same brush actually, and the same black. I'm going to fill in this whole area under her brow here, right under her brow. I'm going to connect it to her tear duct area. And obviously for eyes, you guys can do whatever you want to do. This is just how I did it in that original picture, so I want to make sure I show you this. But you guys can do whatever you want to do for the eye portion. You can totally just do like a solid smoky black eye, or anything else really. There's no rules for this part. Or you can leave it blank, just have a nice big cat eyeliner and leave everything else pretty light. what this is doing is it's just adding more depth to her eyes, so it looks just more exotic and almost a little bit on the scary side. You know, this is Halloween. We want to make sure that there is a little element of fear. Like she's so mysterious, it's scary. So just build it until you're happy with the depth. And I am overlapping with the beginnings of her eyebrows so that it looks more seamless with her eyebrows already there. And I'm just fading the edges so that it just kind of fades into the rest of the lace portion that we've made. So what I did was just whatever was left on the brush, I just kind of dragged it into the lace portion, just so it kind of fades into the lace and the lace just suddenly doesn't just stop out of nowhere. Same with the other side, I want to make sure that it's nicely faded into the lace so it doesn't look like a sudden stop. I'm going to have you look up to the ceiling now. I'm going to do a little bit here. I'm going to go around her tear duct. I'm going to end up using a nice gold pencil for her tear duct area. So I'm leaving that part, if you can see right there, her actual tear duct area, I'm leaving that kind of light because I do want to use a gold liner there. If you accidentally get it dark there, that's okay because the gold liner that we'll use is going to be pretty full coverage, so you'll get it to show anyway. So I'm just kind of going underneath her eyes now, creating a little bit of that nice darkness there. I'm going to go ahead and turn this way. Perfect. I'm going to darken up her under eye here too. We're also going to fade the edge so it looks like it's just fading right into the lace. Okay? And close your eyes. Now I'm going to start smoking out the outer portion, creating a little bit of a cat eye here. I'm going to face a little bit this way. Perfect. Right there. So what I did right now is I just used some product on the side of this brush and stamped it on, and then started rolling it up. Just to give a little bit of that fade effect. Right in there. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Stamping it on and just rolling it up. Okay, go ahead and look straight into the camera. A little bit lower. Yep.
I'm trying to straighten.
So far we have this little depth going. We're also going to add this depth to her crease. Go ahead and look down. Let me give her a little bit more of that cat eye effect. And look into the camera there. So it's gonna be a little bit higher than her natural crease. And I'm just etching in, and I'm connecting it in with that little contour that we made right in here. We're just gonna connect that. So this is why I like a very small brush like this, because if you don't press hard and just use the tip of it, you can create almost like a cut crease looking effect. And then if you press harder, you can get more of a blend. So right now I'm just going to refine it, make sure it's nice and sharp and as dark as possible here. Do the same thing on the other side. Connect it into that little contour zone that we made. Really dig in that color. Don't press hard. When I say dig in, I mean let that color stick to her skin. I don't mean really press hard. Let your brush do all the work. So go ahead and face us. Okay, so now we have a little bit of some interesting depth going on her eyes. I do want to make sure that the edges are super black, so I'm going to go back to my 231 brush here, and I'm going to really, really darken those edges, the edge of the crease that we've made. I'm going to fade it upward so it kind of just fades into the area here by her nose. Fading it up. By pulling. So what I do to fade up is the same way we did here by pulling down. I'm just pulling up now. We're also going to go back to that other blending brush. I'm going in with a color called Sangria, which is similar to this blush color. This color Sangria is also from my palette right here. And I'm going to blend that right on the upper crease so that it kind of fades in a similar way that the edges of the mask did. And now with the eyelid, if you want to leave it light, you can totally leave it light. Otherwise, we can use like a gold, or we can just color the whole thing black. I have this cool Stila thing that I like to use sometimes. I want to say it's called Black Diamond. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me check. It's called Vintage Black Gold. It's from the metallic collection that they have from Stila. And I got this at Mamie's in LA. And it's just this really cool, I don't know if it's going to focus, it's this really cool kind of wet to dry eyeshadow. And I'm going to use this with my fingers. And I have like a good amount on my fingertip, and I'm going to transfer it right onto her eyelid. I like to use this product with my fingers because I feel like using it with a brush is a little difficult. I want it to look fluid and reflective. So I applied it all over her eyelid. I'm going to do the same on the other side now. Close your eyes. And I just like to slide it. That way I know it's like grabbing on as I'm sliding instead of just patting it where it's still on the surface, it hasn't adhered to the skin. If you just pat it like this, nothing's really going to happen. It's just going to look a little wet, but that's about it. But when you slide it and really get it to stick on the skin, it becomes like hyper reflective. Cool. I'm just going to do a little bit more on this side, and then we'll move on for your eyeliner and all that fun stuff. Okay. Now that that's done, we're going to do her eyeliner. We're going to make this really, really pop. I'm going to use the Pro Glide Gel Pencil from LA Girl. Go ahead and look up to the ceiling. And I'm going to fill in her entire waterline with this. All the way into that corner. And I'm also drawing right under her lash line so I can get in between the roots of her lashes and make it nice and thick. Like that. We'll do the same on the other side. On this side. It's like awkward moving that way. And then maybe I'll just do it all from one side. Have my water with it. Are you guys following along okay? I'm going to refresh my phone and check out your latest comments and make sure you guys are doing all right. Okay, the little brush that I used is, it doesn't have a number on it. That was one of the questions. This little brush that I used earlier is from Hodo, and it doesn't have a, that's the name of it, but it doesn't have a number on it, unfortunately. So it just looks like a very small blender brush. And then for the Steel Up product you're using with your fingers, did you use liquid to mix with it? No. For the Steel Up product that I just used with my fingers, I used it straight. I did not use any liquid with it or anything. I didn't use any liquid with it or anything because I feel like the liquid kind of dilutes it. I feel no need to use it really. I don't have a use for that liquid. So when I bought them, I actually just threw the liquids out, and I kept the actual tin. So now I'm going to make a little wing here. And I'm going to let it just flow into the mask. We'll do the same thing on the other side, make a little wing. And let it just pull right into the mask. A little bit darker so you guys can see it. And now I'm going to do her top eyeliner. Go ahead and close your eyes. I'm going to pull up so I can get really deep into her lash line. Go ahead and open. So it's more like that, and then we're gonna set it with some eyeshadow so it looks even smoother and cooler. Or we could just use a liquid liner over it. Actually, wait. I should just stay on this side. Thank you. Okay, open. And now one more cool thing. This is that gold pencil that I was telling you guys about. This is from AnastasiaBeverlyHills.com. And it is her new, I'll just put it up against my hand so you guys can see this. It's Anastasia Beverly Hills Metallic Luster Liner in liquid gold. It's my new favorite gold liner. And we're going to line the, around the tear duct area with it. Go ahead and look up. So it just kind of adds a little bit more of a pop there, and it's more reflective for pictures. So do you see how that just kind of shines a little bit? It's a really cool, I'll show you on my hand as well. It's a really cool, like shiny liquid type of looking liner. Go ahead and look down, and I'm going to connect it into her eyeshadow. Right in there. So now that has a little bit more of that gold speckled look. Eye opening. We're going to do the same on this side. Make sure it flows into the eyeshadow, and then go ahead and look up. We're going to go down. We're going to end it before it hits the iris portion of her eye. So the inner third of her eye is going to have this pencil on it. So now what I think I want to do is I'm just going to use some liquid liner here. The fine line that we use to create your lace. Go ahead and close your eyes. I'm going to use that to really sharpen up your wing and your top liner. Okay, and then the other side. That's perfect. Okay. Go ahead and look straight into the camera. Give them a nice view of what you look like. Super cool, super cool. And now we are going to add just a little bit more mascara. It's up to you if you guys want to use lashes or not. In the picture, I did not use lashes for my original model, so it is optional. But I am going to use a little bit more mascara for her. I love Hypnose Drama Waterproof Mascara. I think it is seriously God's gift to the world. Lancôme's gift to the world. Okay. And look up to the ceiling. I'm going to do a little bit more on the bottom here. And look down to the floor. Okay. And I want to show you guys a couple of ways to clean up at the end. I mean, there are some areas that may have incurred a little bit of fallout or whatnot. I have this little special brush. It's my eraser brush. I used it on her during her foundation application, so there's a little bit of foundation still on it. And this is the 130 brush from MAC. And I'm just going to use that to stipple over some of the areas that grabbed a little bit too much product. So it's kind of like my magic eraser. I think we're okay. I don't think I really need to erase too much there. Lastly, I do want to add a little bit of a brow bone highlight. Everything was matte originally. I do want to add a little bit of shimmer there since everything else has a nice shimmery pop to it. So I'm going to add that in, and then I want to show you how to do that sexy lip, the ombre lip that I did on that model originally. So I'm going to go into this color called Blush from my palette with Anastasia Beverly Hills. This color right here, which has shimmer in it. And we're going to use that just slightly with the end of any flat paddle brush. The brush number of this is number 242 from MAC. And I'm just going to etch in to the brow bone, just to give it a little bit more of a highlight. Any light shimmery color would do. Other side. All right, I think we're good to go. Let's do the lips. Yay! Okay, so for lips, I'm gonna start off with the black pencil that we have from LA Girl Cosmetics, the Crow Glide pencil. I have another one that's freshly sharpened, which I will use. And I'm going to etch out the edging of her lips. I love this pencil because it feels like a gel. It's so soft and it glides on effortlessly. Make the line pretty thick because this is going to be an ombre lip. So we're going to make a pretty thick line there. This is a little crazy looking, like a mustache. I'm going to get the bottom. If you feel like exaggerating the lips or overdrawing, that's totally fine too. I mean, this is a very dramatic look, so all is fair. And now I'm also going to fill in the outer corners with the black as well, in addition to having this thick line. Go ahead and open the mouth just a little bit. Okay, so we've filled that corner. I'm going to fill the other corner as well. Okay, and now here's my favorite red, as far as like a matte red. This is NARS. Wait, I'll put my hand on it again. This is NARS. Is that helping at all? Yeah. NARS, and the color is called Cruella. It's the Velvet Matte Lip Pencil. It's awesome, looks like this. And we're going to use this. Go ahead and open a little bit. We're going to fill in the centers of the lip with this. Now, with a lip brush, I'm going to blend the two together just on the edges. So I'm just kind of overlapping here with this lip brush. This is just a generic lip brush. I got it when I was first going to school, like back in like 2002, and it doesn't have a number on it. It's just a generic lip brush. But I love it, and I keep it nice and clean, and I've been taking care of it for all these years because I just love the size of it, and I feel like good brushes are a good investment. Even though this was generic, it brought me out 12 years later, So now you can see a little bit of that ombre. If you want more red to show, you can just add another coat of the Velvet Matte Lip Pencil from NARS and blend the edges again. Now, lately I've been liking more of a matte look when I'm doing ombre lips, but in the original photo that I posted, the lips actually had a lot of gloss on it, so I'll leave it up to you guys. If you want to do a glossy look over it, just put a clear gloss right on top, and you can see the shine. But I kind of like it looking more, velvety matte. So there you have it. This is the finished look. You can of course add, if you want a colored mask as the base. I use just a pearl white base, but you can totally use an actual gold base, make it look very foily. The only problem with using a very gold base is that it's a little bit harder for the black marker to actually stay on and not look too glittery. So that's why I ended up using pearl. And I use something very similar to that from Lancome as well. When I was doing this original mask back then, I was working at the Lancome counter, so I was using all Lancome products, and they had a similar base at that time. It was actually a cream highlighting blush, and it was a very pale color, which looked just like the Galactic one that I'm using now. They don't have that anymore at Lancome, by the way. So, but yeah, you could totally use a different color base and create a very, very sexy look. So I'm just going to take these crazy pins out of her hair, and we're going to tousle it up and see how amazing this ends up looking with this beautiful, beautiful mask. Yay, it looks so great. Well, thank you for being my beautiful model today. Again, her name is Emily Sears. You can find her on Instagram under @EmilySears. And God, I love her Australian accent. Isn't it just the cutest? So give her a follow and show your love and support. And thank you guys for being there for me always and voting for this amazing look. I was really crossing my fingers hoping that you choose this look because I really wanted to show you anyway. So, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, I am going to have a Q&A after my next class, which is going to be on the 26th. So it's this Sunday. It's 2 days away. And I'm going to be showing you how to create that glow on my model, Layla Milani. So she's going to be here. I'm going to show you how to get that glow and the blush look on her face. And after that, I'll have a full-on Q&A where I can answer a bunch of your questions, either from today's class or that class or whatever class that you want me to answer about. So thank you again for being here and being my amazing model. And she looks amazing. So I'm going to take some pictures of her and I'll post it on Instagram so you guys can see how amazing the photos look. And just to answer one of the questions, you guys wanted to see my makeup today. And basically it's just a smoky eye using the Tamana palette. Nothing crazy. It's just black here, the noir, and then I went into chocolate in the crease. That's all, and then black eyeliner. So, to those who follow me, I literally just came back from a little anniversary trip, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to get dolled up. But a black smoky eye is like the easiest way and the funnest way to look the best you can in like 5 minutes. So, hope you enjoyed. We'll see you soon. Bye guys.